just a kick-ass dude working with SEALs or whatever else, and that's something you want to do as an ML senior and staff sergeant, let me know, because the question's going to come up, and if I already know who you are and you have interest in doing it, I can just bam, there's a name, right? I don't have to wait for someone else to beat us to the punch. And lastly, unqualified loadmasters that haven't started training, so they haven't done LMMQ yet here, can crossflow basically immediately if they want to C-17s or KC-10s here at Travis. So you can be a boom or a loadmaster in C-17s here at Travis. Why immediately? Because a lot of you will have issues with time on station. So you have to get waivers for all that. But if you're just moving from here to the 21st or the 9th or the 6th, it's just like, it's that quick. We can get you over there, you can start your training. So if you're a UL and you're getting kind of a little fed up with the hanging out in the C5 waiver training start, or you just always dreamed of being that guy filling up other aircraft at the gas station in the sky, you let me know and I can help you out. All right. All right. That was the notes. Okay, let's bring the slides. So I'll start this off with a little Chiefs perspective. It's a little vanilla. It's something you expect to see from a chief, but I still think it's important to say. So I need you to take responsibility to deliberately develop all aspects of your professional and personal growth to become the most well-rounded airman that can be, right? Sounds like some chief talking, right? So, but I'm putting the ball in your court, right? I can't, and leadership can't always continue to come down and say, hey, I need this opportunity. Hey, what do you do? Hey, what about, why don't you go into this? You need to take responsibility to deliberately develop yourself. That is opportunities outside the squadron, is like volunteering or heading up stuff, or saying, hey, you know what? I want to be the next primary. I mean, I want to make AI as fast as possible. Whatever it is, take responsibility to deliberately develop yourself, right? And the most well-rounded airman you can be. Because as we all know, if you're missing that one chink in your armor or one little slice of pie as a whole airman, then that hurts you later when you're going up for rank, right? There's always that one thing. It doesn't matter. It goes from year to year. Like, what do they want? Like, oh, this guy doesn't have a bachelor's. He's out. And so you get your bachelor's. The next year, like, oh, well, this guy does an unemployment. And so it changes year. You got to make that whole airman, the whole pie, totally well-rounded. All right, so I'll start this off with, next slide. So who has seen this chart before? I would hope a lot of you. All right, this comes out of our CFEDP, the Airfield Education and Training Plan. So I put the loadmaster one up here because it's actually more accurate than the engineer one right now, because the engineers don't have VMT up here, right? And now we're getting engineers with VMT. So the left side of the screen is stuff that we don't even worry about. You've done all that stuff already, right? We're now over in this area. Disqualification. Okay, you went to lab one. You made it out alive. All right. Mission qualification training. So we're talking about our ULs, right? They get into that. I'll get more deep into this. I just want to give you kind of the overhead, the flow chart of what it looks like per our CFEDP. All right. So you do the disqualification, do the in-rate training. Once you have passed your initial check ride, you get your Form 8, you're mission ready. Advanced training. What kind of advanced training do we have here? Primary. What kind of aircraft do we have here? CML, right? Scumbird, right? Primary upgrade, as you said. Structure upgrade, advanced training. So, and then a value upgrade. And in between all of those slots, you're gaining proficiency, right? You're gaining experience. You're learning from others. You're staying in the books, which makes you not, hey, I made instructor quick, but I made instructor in the right amount of time, and I have the knowledge to back me up in case I'm in a situation where I need to rely on that knowledge. Okay. All right. So that was just like an overhead. Next screen. All right. Who got this when I sent it out on Slack today? All right. So it's on your phone. Like I said, it's an eye chart. Luckily, most of you probably have 2020. So, but this is also at the very end of the CFEDP. And this breaks down where you kind of should be in your career from I just started BMT to I'm an old crusty chief, right? And in the bar graph you can see it lines up at the very top, the CSIP. What's that? Anybody know what CSIP is? The incentive pay. right? You care about that, right? Okay, so there's your blocks from incentive pay, which lines, and then your basic senior chief wings, when you get those, lining up with your different skill levels, 3, 5, 7, 9, and then 00. So most of us, once you become qualified, the majority of aviators are 7 levels, right? We don't go to 7-level school like maintenance guys. It's just once you make that staff sergeant and you're qualified, it's just gifted to us, right? You are now a 7 level, and in a 7 level in the maintenance world and other parts of the Air Force, that's a big deal. If you're going to school, it's awarded to you. So even though it's just given to us, you must live up to that, all right? And then below it has the ranks associated with, right? You have the blue and the green blocks. So the blue block is like, hey, that's the Air Force average. So let's say tech sergeant. The Air Force average is 9.33 years, and the C or the AFSC average is 9.74 for a loadmaster. So and then below that you have your ALS, NCOA, CMCA, leadership, SGGP 1 and 2, and it goes down, right? So we have the instructor and evaluator. We don't have on this is primary, right? Primary is missing over here. We'll talk about that. DSDs, which is always an option. Once again, you have to let us know, leadership know that you're interested in being field advisor or honor guard or whatever else comes up for that DSD. And we'll advertise that ahead of time, so you know. FTU tour, right? So you can go down to Detachment 6. See a leadership course, that's a little bit longer down the line. And then as it goes through 10. So I'm gonna bump back and forth with this a little bit as I go through some topics so you can see it. All right, so go to the next slide. All right, so what is your path? No path is the same, but all CAs should point to a similar goal. You can back up, I don't need that question yet. All right, so no path is the same, right? None of us are gonna have the same path getting to the ultimate goal of being a highly qualified, very technical, proficient evaluator, engineer, loadmaster, scope dope, boom monitor, whatever we are, right? So that's the CEA goal, right? You want to be efficient in your craft. You want to be the top of the game. You want to be that guy sitting at headquarters answering questions at the A3B level, all right? But the path to get there is a multitude of ways, right? I was an H mechanic, and then I was at the 21st in Z5s. Then I went to CRW. Then I was back to the 22nd. Then I went down to the detachment. Then I went to the Dover. And then I got a deployment. And then, I was all over the place, right? And none of our paths are going to be the same. But the important part is that you are always pushing forward in your goals. You know what the next step is going to be and how to accomplish those. Next. Are you excelling every stage of your career progression model? So this is what we're talking about. You are a UL. You are a UF. Oh, not UF. You come here as an FF, right? So what is your goal there? What is your goal as an unqualified loadmaster or scanner? Anybody?
Get qualified.
Get qualified, right? Well, what does that entail? Pass your check, right? But to get there, you have to be in the books, right? You got to study with your group. You got to, at every instance you can, keep pushing forward. Try to get to that next level. And then once you become qualified, EML, you're pushing for the primary upgrade. So, and then from there, you're like, okay, well, I've been a primary for a year or two. I really know what I'm doing. I think I can actually pass off some of this knowledge to the younger people, instructor loadmaster. And then after you've been an instructor loadmaster for a while, someone will come talk to you in the shoulder like, hey, you know what, I think it's time for you to be an evaluator and make sure we're within standards. All right, next. Are you developing yourself for professional growth? All right, so there we're talking about Air Force, right? We're leaving CA behind, talking about professional growth. So if you want to go back real quick. Sorry, I shouldn't have done those all like that. So we're talking about professional growth, right? So this is where we're talking about DSDs. We're talking about FTU tours. We're talking about leadership courses. We're talking about being involved in the community, outside the gate, inside the gate, being a part of those top threes, the mid-tier, right? Anything you can do to gain more knowledge and gain leadership. You know where we hurt the most as CAs when we compete for awards and for rank or anything, or we go against the general population, is we always lose out on the leadership perspective for some reason, right? because very small, not a whole lot of people in the squadron are over a lot of people. And our core job is still to fly the plane and be the expert out there on the road to make sure we are delivering cargo safely and effectively. So we don't have a lot of time to be a leader in a squadron, a leader in a road, and then break away and like, you know what? I'm gonna be the top 3 president. There's just no way. It's extremely difficult, right? I'm gonna be the fill in the blank, right? It's difficult, but I'm telling you, you have to find a way to do it. That's what sets you apart from your peers, especially in the CEA peer field. If you can break outside of that within your peer group, that's what sets you apart and will get you the promotion or wherever else you're going for. All right, go back down. Ding, 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 ding. Next. Are you asking for supervision for mentorship and guidance in both aspects? So you are not alone on an island. You have help. You have your RMs. You have the tech sergeant above you. You have the staff sergeant. It doesn't matter what rank you are. There is someone above you that you can look to, right? Senior Rank Bold comes to me like, what should I do? I'm giving him perspective. I'm giving his guidance. And that's the job of every rank below me to help those to come up. So if you don't know, if you're just you're just like out there floating in the water in your tube, freaking Corona, like, I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm just a load master. I'm just an engineer. I'm just doing my job. To get to the next level, seek out the mentorship and guidance of those. It doesn't have to be in this career field. If there's someone you see outside the base, on the base, Ed Tech, FSS, it doesn't matter. If you respect them and you have similar goals as them, seek them out as a mentor. I mean, it's very rewarding to be a mentor. So they should be seeking out to be a mentor also. All right, next. All right, here we go. Your CE progression is directly linked to your Air Force progression. Okay, big bullet here. If you deliberately delay your CEA progression by choice or lack of aircraft proficiency, you tie the hands of your leadership to help you succeed in your total Air Force progression. So what do I mean by that? If you tell me that I just want to be an ML, I don't need primary, I don't want the responsibility, right? Or I don't want to be an instructor engineer. I don't need that. I don't think I can pass off enough knowledge. You are tying our hands. You're telling us that you don't want to progress in your CEA progression model. You're stopping. I'm good. That hurts you for rank, because now we come into the EFDP, right? Distribution panels. And your flight commanders, flight chiefs, and they're talking about you like, hey, this guy's awesome, blah, blah, blah. He's a great person. And here's why you think you should be the next rank. But if you're just languishing you're not progressing in your CEA progression, press twice. It's hard because your peers are going above and beyond. Special opportunities, those DSDs, right? Those opportunities to go, like AFSOC's coming down. If you want to do AFSOC, we're not going to kick them our the ones who are just hanging out and not doing a job and growing mold on them. So we want those guys that are standing out, they're trying their hardest, and they're bringing everyone else up with them. And then cross flow and good assignments. So good assignments, right? We have an example of good assignments. Most recently, I guess, was Sereno Dashner, right? So he killed it. Awesome guy, good career progression, made Master Sergeant, fought for him. He goes to G5s. I mean, is there a better engineer? I don't know. It seems pretty cool to me. They'll go into Ramstein on so it makes it easy to sell you, right? If another agency's out there asking for somebody, they don't say, you just have me do what you got. They say, is this guy or gal going to bring our unit up? All right, next slide. All right, what are we gonna do for you? Shorter list, but the first bullet is very encompassing. Leadership will develop all airmen, CA and SARM, to achieve their professional goals. So when I say leadership, I'm not talking about being a commander. We're part of that, right? The leadership goes all the way down. So we're talking about getting down to your RMs, the first shirt, your flight chiefs, your flight commanders. They'll develop all airmen. Next one. Can go back. But once again, you have to seek out that help. They have a whole bunch of people on your flight. They're not going to know every single. What do you want to do? 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 It's exhausting, right? If you want to do something, if you want to excel, if you want to try something different, you need to come to your leadership and ask for that opportunity. All right. Does that make sense? You head nod? We're not sleeping yet, are we? Okay. All right. Next. All right. We're going to seek out opportunities for new leaders to excel. So, like I said before, on awards, mostly on awards, we get crushed because we're doing stuff. We're flying the mission. You know, we got guys out there doing 75 days on the road out of 90 days for a quarter, and then they come back and they crush it for the 15 days in-house, and then they go to the awards board and they don't do well because they didn't, you know, volunteer at the SBCA. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to actively seek out opportunities and balance those schedules to get those individuals that want them opportunities to do stuff outside the squadron. So it will help them in awards, which will help you in EPRs, which helps you in rank, which helps you with whatever you see for yourself. If you want to become a superintendent, if you want to be more of a program manager at headquarters, whatever that is, it all starts at the bottom level and builds up on itself. Next. All right, and lastly, we'll look for other opportunities for stagnant progression. As I said before, we are a very young squadron, and our IL and instructor flight engineer corps is also young, but we're building them up, and they're gaining knowledge too. But eventually, very quickly, they're going to have to move on to be evaluators. So we would need the primaries to move up to be the IFs, right? If you are telling me that you just want to be the mission guy, no primary, no instructor, we're probably going to look for some other opportunities for you outside the squad. All right. We don't have the bandwidth to have people just hanging out. We need to progress everyone through this career progression model so we have the capacity, because at some time AMC needs to come in like they always do, and we're going to say, hey, we need 6 load masters, and they go right out of the middle. They take what they take. They don't take our inexperienced guys. They always take who you got, who's your good instructors, and they get grab themselves, right? So progressing your career, show initiative. Go to the next level. All right, next week. Last one, sorry. Okay, what can you do for the team? Show initiative is inside and outside the jet. I've been saying this a lot already, right? Just show initiative. Inside the jet, well, I mean, you know, that just goes with flying. That's what we should be doing, you know. I'm not sitting there looking at a pile of chains on the floor and putting them away, right? I'm not watching someone else do a job that I could be helping with. I'm helping with that. It goes for all crew positions. Just show initiative on a jet. It makes the mission go a lot better. People are a lot happier. People are happier. This is a good mission altogether, right? All right, next. Vocalize your dreams and desires and seek out mentors. I've already mentioned this before. It's your responsibility to seek out mentors. Let them know your dreams and desires. We don't have a crystal ball. We can't tell what you want to do. All right. Tell us what you want to do. We want to get you to your goal. All right. If your goal is to be the Chief Master Sergeant in the Air Force, I'll do my best, but we can let you get you on the path. If you want to be the A3V Standards and Evaluation Guy at AMC, we can try to get you there. If you want to be a flight chief, we can get you there. If you want to be an evaluator, I mean, whatever you want to do, there's a path for that, and we can help you get you there, right? Okay, it's in capital letters for a reason. So apparently, Senior Master DeAngelis has briefed this like 3 times, right? So last week I get an email from the AFPC saying that we have 9 senior airman load masters that have C-130 assignments on their orders or on their dream sheets. So this is the 3rd time now, and they're basically said this is the last time we're going to give you a heads up. Next time we're just going to pick one, and that means you're going to some place you probably want to go flying around in 130s. All right. I don't get too many threats for the engineers. You guys are kind of rare already, but regardless, please update your dream sheet. If you haven't, please update your dream sheet. Can you do that for me? Just look at if you don't know where your dream sheet is, find a flight chief, find that tech sergeant, find someone that can help you out and change it. All right, because right now I'm fending off AMC, right? Like, stay with my guys. I don't have anybody already, and it's hard when they've already given us like 2 warning shots. So update your dream sheets. If you don't want to go anywhere, have nothing on there. That's it. All right. Next. And involve yourself in squadron activities and initiatives. So every airman from the A1C, one was weird, the chief can contribute and develop to a better way of things, right? I'm not going to stand up here and tell you that I know all and I have every single initiative and better way to do everything. That is by far, I'm close to the truth, all right? I'm winging it like the rest of you, okay? All right? But everyone at every stage of their career might have, like, they're seeing a process, like, it's probably a better way to do that. We can do this. Or do something totally outside the box, like, this VR stuff is great, right? K-Rob's killing on that. So there's always a better way to do things. So if you see a better way to do things, bring it up to your leadership. They're going to be receptive of it. Why? Because I'm telling them to be receptive of it, and they should be. All right. All right. So all of us older guys are very aware that the younger generation is as smart or probably smarter than us. So leverage that power, find places that can be improved, and let us know, because we just want to make the 22nd. We're already the best, but I get best in the galaxy. I don't know this. All right. And I think that's it. Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks. Do you have anything to add before you ask questions?
A few things, right? So, when ex-football player, ex-boxer, dad was a steel worker, right? Mom was a teacher. Anything simple sometimes, right? So I'm gonna break it down super simple for you. Speak some truth to power, okay? So what impresses the commander? What impresses me? What impresses the chief? What impresses your RMs, right? Your leadership in the squadron? It's really just a few things, okay? You hear me talk about being a heavy hitter, right? Being accountable for your actions, being someone who's going to finish what they start in their office, right? Be accountable for the things you're given in your shop, right? If you're in standabout, or you're in training, or you're in transition flight, and we ask you to do something in transition flight, whether your flight chief, your flight commander, ask you to do something in garrison in the squadron, you do it. And if you get selected to go on the road, you find someone else who's going to carry through and get that done for you, right? And part of that includes branching out and volunteering for things along the way that aren't so fun. You know what I mean? If I need you to, flip burgers and grill for a burger burn, right? It's not gonna be me asking you, right? It's probably someone in transition, or it's one of your element leaders, right? Or someone in a shop, or planning the next holiday party, or you just name a lot of different things that we do that makes a squadron part be awesome, because that's part of the culture, the things we volunteer to go do, to things in the wing, like that's important. What's also important being a heavy hitter is being credible in your craft, right? We talk about the advancement professionally in your crew position, your AFSC. That's so important, whether you're SARM, admin, right? Whether you're a section commander, whether you're a loadmaster or an engineer, I value progression, okay? I want you to be hungry, okay? Hungry for advancement, hungry for making yourself better. And I'll put a big caveat on that statement is making your brothers and sisters better. If you want to impress me, you're somebody who crushes it in the office, who's a playmaker in the jet because they've got awesome general knowledge. They're the one that's slinging the chains first, that's taking the trash out first, that's hauling bags as an aircraft commander first. I tell my pilots all the time, right? That's buying the first round when you guys get together, right? So being that team leader, okay, but helping out everyone else around you. I watch. The chief watches, okay? If you want to be a shiny penny by yourself, here's not where to be a shiny penny by yourself. If you want to be a shiny penny that leads teams, I want you. And I'm going to advance your progression through the squadron as best I can in the Air Force, okay? If you're that shiny penny that's going to make others shine first around you, because I see right through it. The chief sees right through it. Everyone else who's sitting up here has got 10, 20 years under their belt, sees right through it. Now, what makes us the best C5 squadron, the best airlift squadron, the best team, in my opinion, on the planet, is because we do that, right? We make each other better. All the instructors in this room, the evaluators, the primaries, everyone who's hungry for more, we make each other better. Your aircraft commanders, the instructor pilots, the evaluators, we pick and choose each one of those as they progress through this squadron. It's a small community, guys, right? If you build your legacy in this squadron, and it is spreads around the C5 community like that. Okay. So do that. That's quite simply what I want you to do. Okay. All these charts and things that the chief just talked about, that's the admin behind it. That's the we talk about it, the ones and zeros, because it's behind everything. But the bottom line is, when it comes to that ETP and I'm picking stripes, that's what I'm looking at. Okay. I want you to be a team builder, a leader, credible in your craft. Okay. So I can rely on you both in the jet and in the office. Okay. I'm going to talk about a few other small things. Part of being a collaborator, a team builder, is pulling your load, right, guys? It can be tough to pull your load, and I'll be the first one to say, right? Sometimes you get sick, sometimes you break a leg. There's things that are gonna make you go to NIF, right? And you feel like, well, crap, I can't pull my load because, damn it, the flight docs tell me I can't go out and fly, right? And a lot of those things, you know what I mean, are out of your control. I get it. Guess what? Every week I sit with Colonel Murray, right? The FIO on base, our chief flight doc, and I go through every single person in the squadron, currently 19 people, that are DNIF. 100%, right? There's no HIPAA between the commander, you know what I mean, and the flight surgeon. We go through everything, right? Whether it's a waiver process, whether it's a long-term DNIF situation, short-term DNIF situation, what type of approval we need to get at a medical evaluation board, like everything. I spent hours a week going through that list, okay? And I know some things are totally out of your control. I get it, okay? And it can be tough, right, when you talk about pulling your load. For those, right, that we're looking at short-term DNIFs, you know what I mean, whether you catch the cold or whether you're looking at, you sprain your ankle or something like that, you got to help me too, right? And this is just an admin kind of tighten up here, much like wearing the right patches. Is I need you to get with the flight doc, with the sergeants call you to say, hey, come on back in to get off the NIF. I need you to do that, guys, right? Because right now, there are some folks in the squadron that are carrying more than just one person's load. They're carrying 1.5, 2 people's load because, right, some of us aren't available for some things we can't, they're out of our control, and I get that. But for some of us, right, that we maybe could have gotten off the NIF 2 days earlier, 3 days earlier for that mission that was going to leave, I need you to get with the flight docs, right? I need you to go to the flight med and get off the NIF when you can. Because there's some folks that are in this room or in this squadron that a lot of them are flying on the road right now that are pulling their weight plus some. And what's hurting them is getting back in garrison and maybe taking control of some of their stuff, right? Whether that's DTS, training, stand eval, you name it, right? Because it's got to be balanced, that heavy hitter's mindset. So help me help your brothers and sisters, okay, to be able to be that balanced airman. What else? Had a few other notes here. Talk about what impresses me, what impresses your leadership and chief going up for EFDP. Talked about carrying the load for the teammates. It's a shared load type of thing. The incidents on the road, right? I just shot a video with the chief, along with Stanival, the DO, Senior Reinbold, and we talked about this, like these string of incidents, if you want to call it that. When I hear incident, I think someone got hurt, killed, or an airplane was broken. So they're not quite an incident. It's more so a trend and a indicator to me that whether we blame it on COVID, whether we blame it on not seeing each other very much, whether we blame it on, I don't know, 2020 writ large, where I start to see an attrition, right, a lowering of our flight discipline or our discipline on the ground or a CRM breakdown. I don't know the why behind all of it, but what I do know is that it has to stop. You know what I mean? That's part of the reason why we shot this video, is part of the reason we're having these CTs with a crew that was part of that incident stands up, right, and shines their butt a little bit. It's a little bit of a humble pie, slice of humble pie, to stand up and talk about where they went wrong, because I want everybody to learn from it, right? And that's another thing that makes us so good, it makes us who we are, is because we learn from each other, right? We're not afraid to stand up and be like, I effed up, team, and this is where I wish I would have gone, and done something different. This is where I wish I would have hacked the clock and said, all right, buddy, take a deep breath. What's going on with Fred right now, whether it's on the air or on the ground? Is it something we have to make a choice on right now? Is it a reject on takeoff? Nope. Okay, let's either go into holding if we're in the air, or let's just sit with the jet and let's just talk about this, guys. Tell ground, we're hanging out. Tell maintenance to chill. We're going to powwow for a little bit and talk about this and see what's going on. We're going to huddle up and make the right choice. If we have to, we'll call OGV. We'll call Stanival, because guess what? It's 2020, and that's a good thing. But you want to call somebody, Slack, ask a pilot, FE, whatever you want to reach out, get a second opinion. That's all good stuff, right? And I also know we're not infallible, right? We've got evaluators, we got instructors that are making making errors. I make problems around problems too. I make mistakes daily, right, guys? What makes us good is that we admit it, right? We move forward. So that's that. I want to get off my soapbox there. You're going to see a brief file and a video to watch on the link in the squadron. Okay, talk about PCS, let's talk about promotion. We talked about just some of the current events that are going on. We talked about what we're hearing at the staff level, right? And I want to share that too, what we're hearing on the staff level. So no stages that I'm tracking anytime soon, but largely because of COVID, right? Talk about ops now, some more popular things. I want to open it up also to y'all, right? Going forward on questions, you know, whether that's like, hey, what does the Thanksgiving party look like? You know, and I can partially answer that. What does the holiday ball look like coming up? What's tomorrow look like, right? Hopefully everybody's coming tomorrow to the Fall Fest. We're gonna have free food, brats, you know, we're gonna have some beverages, we're gonna have candy for the kids. I'm getting us back into doing some fun things because that's what makes us who we are, right? And when we're separated from each other, it's not good. That's why we're going back to Mondays and Fridays. Being in the squadron, you're like, yeah, wearing masks flipping sucks. I'm the first one to tell you that. But I know we have to do it. We have to look each other in the eye a little bit. It's good. So that's that. I want to open the floor up. You know, ask me, the chief. We can't answer. We got the shirt here. You know, we've been here 35 minutes. We don't have to stay here another 25. We can stay here another 10. You know, but I had my officers ask a lot of tough questions after I finished my brief. A lot of it had to do with PCSing because right now ATC, right, is pulling a lot of my pilots back to be instructors. That's just a peek under the tent, right? What's going on the officer side right now? And they're really worried, right? They're also worried because guess what? The airlines are hiring. I know you don't want to hear that, but I'm just kind of, you know, we're a family. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about the pilots want to go make money somewhere. Like, yeah, I get it, right? I hate hearing it too sometimes. I'm like, no, I want you to be next chief staff of the Air Force, not an airline pilot, an American. You know what I mean? I'm talking to jets now a little bit, but that's just kind of what's going on the officer side, you know, because I want to share this as a team endeavor. This is very much enlisted, so I want you guys to talk about what's on your mind. You know, I know this is recorded, but this is a good opportunity to raise your hand, ask a question. There's no stupid questions, there's no silly questions. So ask it, and if I can answer it, somebody in here can, or we'll figure out an answer. I'll write it down. Cool.
Sure. Sergeant Zones.
Yes.
Just with the chief, you talked about the loadmasters being taken potentially for other airframes. How will that affect our missions, if any, or are they just taking them because we have such a long dwell time? Like, will we be getting less missions, or many levels be going down for loadmasters? Will they remain the same, and we'll get backfills later? Give any insight?
Yeah, so right now, we're supposed to be at 199, right? And the squadron's at 244 personnel because of the buyback didn't go through. So with that, they need to bring our numbers back down also. And what they do is they go off the time on station, who has the highest time on station. So I saw that list with 9 senior airmen on it, with opportunities to go to 130s. And there's 9 for here, and there was 2 at Dover, right? They don't balance it by coast or anything else. They go by, okay, C5 is too many people, time on station, run the list. Here's the guys that need to go. So you're gonna probably see losing some more personnel as we get back down to that number. But like I said before, we need to start bringing up our efficiencies so we can fill those gaps, because it's gonna happen, right? Because who are our senior airmen, right? The guys have been flying their butt off since they've been an ML, right? Either they're an instructor or on the way to be an instructor. So we need to fill those gaps. Yeah.
Good question, right? So I'm not going to go into UMD and UMPers and all that crap, or how many people were in the squadron and why. But the bottom line is missions are very much predicated on how many bodies we have that are qualified in the squadron. Okay, we would get more missions if a lot more of our loadmasters were qualified, right? And we also had more engineers. You know what I mean? Because we're a little bit undermanned by 1 or 2, I think, on the engineer side. Pilots we're real bad on pilots right now, and that's part of the reason why they're taking many of them in the next cycle. You're going to see like 6 or 7 pilots leaving, actually more than that, probably 8 or 9 to 10 leaving in the next 5-6 months. So that's that. So that's the why. You know what I mean? What else? And I love explaining the why. Context is important because of the question you have. I've been the DO, right, and now I'm the commander. There's very few things in the squadron that I don't understand. So if you have a question, gosh, I'm gonna give you guys the straight up answer. Why?
So one is, they did this a while back, senior airmen staffs. I took them out,
Yep.
130s, and other things. And that's why now we have such a low experience level, because that gap wasn't there to fill it in. And I know it's only 9 right now, but if this becomes a trend, they're trying to limit it down. Aren't they just doing it again?
So I've been around a while, and you'll see this over and over again, the ebb and flow, the ebb and flow. We'll have not very many students, and so we'll bring our instructor numbers down. And then all of a sudden they'll turn on the faucet. Here's 20 students. So and then we're caught in the crowd. Now we have to start bringing up instructors. We bring up instructors again, right? Like, hey, we need instructors. I know you're only primary for a year, but we need people, bam, get you up there. And then it tapers off. So it's just at this ebb and flow that's been going on since the early 2000s, right? That's all I can go back to. And it sucks, right? And what's horrible about it is it doesn't matter if you're an evaluator, instructor, primary, ML, or UL, you all look the same on the UMD, right? They don't say, oh, they have 50 load masters and 38 that aren't qualified. They say they have 88 load masters, and when you start pulling from them, and then it goes back to time on station, right? The ULs don't have time on station. Who does? The staff sergeant, the tech sergeant, the senior airman that's been here longer than anybody else. So is it intentional that they're taking our people that are our strongest engineers and load masters? No. It goes off time on station, and that's a discriminator they use. And oftentimes the person with the highest time on station has the most experience, right? It's obvious. So it is 9 right now. They haven't told me if there's going to be a big increase and when, but the ask right now is that they want 1 for each coast. So that 9, I need to give them one load master on the 22nd to go to 1 of 5 C-130 bases, right? And then, but like I said, Dover only had 2 on the list. If both those guys where we can't go, like you're separating or whatever, then it falls back on us for 2, right? It's a numbers game. I'll protect you as much as I can, right? But at the end of the day, I can only do so much. And the first part of that is correct your dream sheets. Because if they run that master list and they say, all right, I need 130s, and they hit that list and no 22nd names are on there, that list I would have saw would have had 2 Dover people, and that would have been it, right? And then we're not in the fire. So help me help you, all right? Doesn't matter who you are, what your job is, all right? Fix your team. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay.
I'm wondering why they don't just turn off Boston.
Yeah, that's the FTU and reserve recruiting and everything else. That's way we don't have control. Go ahead.
Yeah, so AFPC is a machine, right? And it's spaces and bases. They don't understand much what the chief said about experience levels, things like that. That's context that they just don't have time to look into, right? And really, whenever you push information, like I just wrote a damn white paper to our 06 that's going through our wing commander and APC for the pilot piece while they're pulling all our experience, say, no, please don't do that because now it's a safety risk. A lot of times they go, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's good to know. Looks like a leadership challenge for you. You know, I'm still taking your body. And you're like, well, shit. You know what I mean? Like, come on, I'm telling you what I need to get done. I'm trying to upstream this problem. So it's not a problem for me and my predecessor or my successor after me here in a year and a half is going to have to deal with, right? Who's going to replace you and have to deal with that? You know what I mean? So it can be flipping frustrating. And the best thing I've seen that you can do is communicate. So if and when, you know, we're like, hey guys, we're in a bind. I'm talking about the leadership, whether it's a chief or a colonel, they can't be surprised. They can be upset. They go like, this sucks. And I can be like, yes, sir. But we told you, right? So here's what's going on. And when it comes down to risk, I always try to talk about risk. Then their ears perk up a little bit and they go, okay, I don't want to see an incident go down. I get it. The instructor burnout thing, that's real. How can I help, right? And that's where I always try to get to. The chief and I would try to get to, where if we do have to push bodies out, that it's a nice spread of some experience and inexperience, right? That we can ask to leave. That way, it's not just cutting the high time on station. Who's high time on station? Like your folks that have high time on station experience, right? Because what Fred, part of being a Fred driver is, and whatever your crew position is a lot of that's just over time, right? It just takes time. You can be super hungry, but you're not going to be an instructor in 3 years. By the time you show up, right? If you're an airman, you're not going to be an instructor in 3 years. It's probably not going to happen. The fastest we've seen, probably 4.5, right? But that can happen, which is awesome. And some people can do it, some people can't. So that's a little more context. What else? You had a second question now?
Yeah, so my second question is like, it's more like, so like basis basically on instructors, because that's not hard. is, you were saying, Chief, the ability to go like out and volunteer and do all this stuff, that's how you're gonna spread merit differently, that's how you're gonna lose your awards and stuff. Now, for my shop specifically, I can't speak on other shops or even yet, because I can speak a little bit to instructors and stuff, but we can't. Like, it's just not practical for like my guys to be able to go out and volunteer and do all this other stuff because they are constantly training. So it's more the question is like, what do you suggest like, that they do? Like, if you're having like tricks for them to do, to able to like kind of check that box and do it without having to be here for snake ground.
Yeah, so back to the one goal I had, we're gonna seek out opportunities for individuals. That's part of that. What can we find for our people to lead that doesn't require them to be at a certain meeting at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday every week, right? Because there's just no way we can accomplish that. Our schedule doesn't allow for that. So that's our job, especially being the shirt, right? But then your RMs is like, what are areas we can lead? Like I said, it doesn't have to be on base. Like some of my best bullets was stuff I've led off base in the community, right? It still had impact back on the Air Force, but it was significant. Okay, so we're gonna search these out. And the hard truth is, it sucks to be an instructor. That's one of the hardest jobs in the squadron is being in the instructor office. It's turn and burn. You're constantly doing stuff. You're taking care of, you know, how many students we have right now total? 31 for loads, and then engineers 20, right? Yeah. So you're basically care and feeding for 50 people while you're out there flying the line and trying to maintain training records. It's a tough job, and I get it. And that's why it's coming upon your brothers and sisters here to bring themselves up, to get that primary upgrade, to seek out instructor upgrade, so they can beef you up, they can get more instructors in there, and then we can free you, the ones that have been doing this for a while, to go out and do other things and bring yourself up professionally as an airman, right? Because you're nailing the career side of it, right? And you are the proficient person that the Air Force and I'm looking for, but you need to fill out the whole airman concept, right? I hate to say that, but yeah, you have to fill out the whole pie, right? No chinks in the armor. So as of right now, I can't specifically say, hey, we're gonna go do this and have this one action, but that's a task for us, okay? That's what I've tasked my leaders to do.
Can I piggyback on that real quick? So the command team will, really to me, I have a lot of power, right, to promote, right, EFDP. You know, I'm essentially adding on a significant amount of points when you go to the board, right, a significant amount of points. If you're an instructor and evaluator, okay, in my mind, you already have points, right? So when it goes to the EFDP, you're going to rise amongst your peers, okay? I have 2 tours in ATC. I've been an instructor I have more instructor hours than any other hours, right, on my flight record. I know what it takes to be a really good instructor. I know what it takes to be just an instructor and remain an instructor, right? Meet the mark and be an instructor of a squadron. It's not easy, it's flipping hard. So I'm the first one that has a very significant appreciation if you're an instructor or an evaluator, right, of what you're asked to go do, okay? Period, dot. I'll be very, very clear. If you're hungry for that, and I see you doing what needs to be done to make that upgrade to primary or from scanner, right, to panel and panel to instructor, I watch that too, okay? Straight up, 100%, I'm telling you that right now. I asked everyone else in your room who's watching you, your instructors at the STRPs, we come in, we talk, everybody's hungry, it's making their way up, I'm taking notes. My STRP notes are like 3 pages long of who I'm watching and making their way up, okay? There's transparency for you right now, right? So when you see people that are spinning on E5, E6, E7, all right, and they were, guess what, doing good stuff in garrison, but also crushing it on the road, you can potentially be upset. You shouldn't be upset because they're doing great things, right? You can't be surprised because I'm telling you right now, that's why they made it, okay? And I'm not making that decision in a vacuum. I'm talking to everyone else, the enlisted leadership in here before I, take that box, right? Where it's a must promote, definite promote, okay? But I'm telling you right now that it weighs heavily on my decisions. You watch who I've promoted up here on the stage the past few months, guess what? They've all been crushing it on their road, period, dot. And they continue to do that, and raise up the folks around them, they're gonna keep making rank as much as I can control it. There it is. Okay. What else, guys? You want to hear the truth? I'm gonna give it to you. straight from the top. Reno, what's up?
Sorry, is there any way we can fix the way the ULs are showing up on our main document? I feel like it's kind of a C5 specific thing because don't most other airframes get mostly qualified individuals?
Yep. So,
It's unfair for our community to.
yeah, that's been occupying much of our time for goodness, seems like
So
forever.
it comes up at every meeting, like.
Yep.
That fight has been going on for years. Yeah. And it's true, you know, the C-17s get qualified individuals, right? Well, they're qualified, but they downgrade and bring back up, right? But we get the ULs, and I have fought that. I know Steve Foley, the superintendent on the East Coast, has fought that. People for me have fought that. And it's never a problem until we have 30 ULs, right? When we're down to like 10 or like whatever, it doesn't matter. But then we're just ugly ahead. And then all AMC just hear the C5s complaining again, right? So I can keep asking the question, but it's the same answer I get year after year after year. Is like, if they're a load master, doesn't matter if they're UL, ML, IL, EL, they're a load master and they're on your manning document, and that's where you're gonna stay unless they separate or PCS or whatever else.
I'm going to spin you a little more truth to power on this, okay? So I've met with the wing commander, this same current wing commander, I don't know, a dozen times about this, right? Even yesterday, we were at the Math Council, which is meeting with the other wing commander at Dover, and then, you know, A3T, so Colonel Arnie, all the 06s, right, to make all the decisions for C5s. And there is not going to be a Form 8 qualified load master before 2026 coming our way. We are all, most of us, are probably going to be gone. Okay, by that time, we're moved on to something else. I'll be retired, you know, before we get a Form 8 qualified load master. Okay, so I saw that writing on the wall 2 years ago when I got here, and I was like, we're not going to wait. So what have we been doing? Civilian overhire. The MSTT, which is an OST that the 4-stars bought off, they can't take away from us. We're going to go to Fort Campbell, Pendleton, wherever we want to go to get load master training, right? To VR, you know, initiatives. We're going to go to TACC here in a month. I'm not going to go, but I'm sending my DO and all the other DOs around the C5 community to go pitch General Banovos again to make sure she gives us 2.2 million to get this pushed across the finish line, so we get more and more of that VR initiative stuff. Amongst the other 7 different things we're pushing to get load masters, you know, push through as much as we can. All the additional long-term MPA, instructor help from the 312 to the 312 crew that's picking up one of our missions on the road, right? All that stuff together is what we're doing to make the burden a little bit easier so we can get through this backlog. Once we get through the backlog, hopefully all that stuff is still with us that we're asking for, and our job's going to get easier. That's how we do things in the double deuce, right? Is we're not going to look at an obstacle and be like, woe is us. We're going to find another way around it. We're going to crush down some colonels' doors and say, sir, we need help. And we're going to be unemotional and factual, and we're just going to do it. So manpower study. Manpower study was done last week. They're going to add additional K codes, which means instructors, and Q codes, which means evaluators on our UMD. So in theory, AFPC in Texas is going to push us more instructors and evaluators, Q codes on our UMD. So we're going to get more people, right, that are not, we're going to get more people that are techs and masters that have 3,000 hours in C5. Are there many of those people out there? No, but at least there's a vacancy now that needs to be filled by APC, right? Spaces, positions, right? And faces, the body that actually fills that position, right? I have to make the math work. So that's what we're doing right now. I have a little context. Okay. Spinning some truth here, guys. Straight from the top. What do you want to ask? Like, I don't want excuses, right? If there's something that's been burning in your brain, just ask, right? And we'll give you the answer. No smoke and mirrors in this water. Yeah. Dylan, yeah.
Is that 17 transition only for ULs or?
Yeah, so the initiative is to clear out our UL backlog, right, to free up our instructors, because we can only grow instructors so fast, but they're giving us 2 ULs a month. It's too much. So AMC is giving us an opportunity to farm out some ULs to other airframes if they so desire. It's volunteer at this point for the C-17, the KC-10, all right? And that's boom operator or engineer. So if you want to be a KC-10 engineer, go for it. But then, you know, your job's going away. You're back here again. Yeah, but then you go to 46, so if you're a boom operator, right? So that'd be pretty cool, even though there's floors made of paper. Yeah, so if you want to cross flow to another airframe at Travis Air Force Base and you're a UL that hasn't started LMQ, tell me, or tell your leadership and they'll tell me, and I'll forward your name up, because that is way easier than trying to get you a flight attendant slot somewhere, because that now we have to PCS you, and that comes time of station, and that is a hard waiver to get. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, rare opportunity, guys. I never heard of this before. So part of this is because we just have so many, right, and the capacity's there. And some folks are sitting, what's the longest? Maybe we go with 6, 8, 9 months, right, sitting in training hold. Yeah, 12 months. And that sucks, guys, right? Like, you're getting a paycheck. Part of it's like you're getting a paycheck and, you know, we're using as best you can, classroom and doing other things. But the other side is like your quality of like service. You know what I mean? Like, you feel useful to the team. Like, it's not the same as looking at somebody else who's qualified, right? That's running the mission. It's going around the road. That's like moving cargo. That's flipping switches and getting AR on locals, on, you know, doing stuff on missions, moving scumbird around. I mean, there's cool stuff we do, but if you're not part of that, that's hard, right? So I feel bad to a certain extent, because I want you to be part of our team, but there's also, you can look at it as an opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, how you turn a lemon into lemonade sometimes is the way you gotta look at life. So if you haven't started training yet, right, there's some of you in the room and you're like, screw it, I'll go be a boom. You know what I mean? Because guess what? I can start training next week.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
Their FTU is here at Travis.
Right, you just walk down the street and go to the FTU over by the wing headquarters, right, and start training next week. So that, you don't have to move your dorm room, right? You don't have to move your house. Just go, right? And then guess what? If you're like, well, I'll do that for 3 years, and then I'll come back and do something else. We do both, right? So that's that. It's an opportunity. That's the way I see it. I'm indifferent on pushing people out, people in, because obviously I want to have a big squadron with lots of people part of our party, because it's fun. What else, guys, before we wrap this thing up? Was this helpful?
Yes.
Right? Like, you know, we've met with you individually. When I say individually, as part of your crew position, whether you're ULs, MLs, you know, FFs, MFs, instructors, evaluators, you know, to kind of have that portion. But we want to get everybody together, just talk about more of the enlisted force as a whole. So we'll do this again. I don't know if it's gonna be quarterly or every semi-annual period. We'll record it, we'll put it on there, so if you're on the road, you're not missing out. That's another big initiative we've changed, right? Everything we do as a team is pretty much recorded and put on YouTube. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google on YouTube, Double Deuce Cloud, and we've got like 70 flipping videos on there, from all calls to CTs, to PDs, professional development, right? All that stuff. We just did one on China with Lieutenant Colonel Poon, who was from China. His dad was born there, had a farm in China, was exiled. You know what I mean? Has that story to tell. Now he's Lieutenant Colonel in Comm Squadron, has been part of a cyber attack squadron that's being stood up in 2 years, part of the OG. That's flipping weird. You know what I mean? That's right? Now we're not pushing cargo, right? We're pushing Trons to attack China from a comm squadron. You know, it's pretty wild shit we're doing these next few years. So if you haven't watched that PD, it's an hour and a half long. I know it's long, but it's got some really crazy stories in there from him and his family, how they left China and got to Hong Kong and then got to California. And now he's Lieutenant Colonel in the United States Air Force. Like, so everything else, the history of China and why they do what they do, because we don't quite understand it, because we're so different culturally. That's all, guys. We're doing a lot of cool shit in the squadron. Be part of it. That's all I got to say. Don't miss out. You know what I mean? Link up with your brothers and sisters, whether you're in the dorms or off base. You know what I mean? You got to get together. I know there's COVID. I get that. But part of what makes us awesome is to get together and do cool shit together, both on the road, in garrison, and off duty. So be part of this team. Be part of this family. Don't miss this opportunity. I tell it to all our new folks that come to Muley 101 for our onboarding. You know, this is an opportunity that you're going to be part of a legacy that's going to live on. You're going to tell your grandkids about it. I am. You know what I mean? Nobody gets to do this cool stuff. Not everybody gets to do this cool stuff. We're part of the fraction of the 1%. Okay? So cherish that. Make it everything you can make it. You only get one life to live, and one opportunity at the Muleys. Okay? That's all I got, guys. Yeah. See you tomorrow.
Check out your dream sheet tomorrow, your homework. That's right.